Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So in today's video, we're going to talk to you about converting guitars from right-handed to left-handed. If you made the mistake of buying a right-handed first instead of left because you're left dominant, or if you went the other way and bought a left-handed first and you're right-handed dominant and you want to convert. There are good points and bad points. The good points is on electrics, you can do this to a certain degree, and on acoustics, it is absolutely advised not to. And I'm going to explain in full detail exactly how that works and what it's about. So let me grab my acoustic first. Now I only have the Takamine here today for this, but this is a left-handed guitar. It's an acoustic. Now as you'll see, I hold it this way, you're looking at the bridge. Okay, that's the critical part right now. And if you're looking at the bridge, you'll see that the high E string, the bridge is very close or forward toward the headstock, and your low E string is away from the headstock. Now, whether this is a split bridge or a straight across makes absolutely no difference. You would have to completely flip that angle on a precise angle to get the proper intonation reset if you were to turn this into a right-handed guitar. Okay, same as if it was a right going to a left. And that means you would have to take out the saddle, or saddles in this case, fill the cavities up, reroute the cavities the opposite way in the precise spot according with the length of the guitar, the neck, the strings, and so on, where they're going to be placed now, which is going to be different spots now. Okay, up on the headstock, you need the precise measurement to cut that angle properly. The other way around this would be to completely remove the bridge and put on a alternate bridge, be it a right-handed bridge or a left-handed bridge. You will also then have to change your nut. You can't just turn these nuts around, okay? Does not happen, which means you need a proper right-handed nut or left-handed nut, depending on which way the conversion's going, okay? And that still may not be enough, because this guitar, ooh, look at that, it's got a curve in it. It's got a slight curve. It's not a completely flat neck, okay? So, because it has a curve, it has to follow heights too. And you got to go opposite of those heights. Now, the problem with doing this on acoustic guitars is a left-handed is built structurally to handle the twisting between the top and the bottom, okay? So it's twisting at a certain angle with a curve, and the inside bracing and everything is designed, same with the neck, to follow a certain amount of twist and at certain pressure levels, otherwise damage occurs. And it will occur if you were to switch this from a left to a right or switch a right to a left. You will actually twist the body, you will damage your top, you will damage the neck by twisting the neck as well, because it's being pulled opposite to what it was designed and built as. That's a big problem, and I've been through this several times in my life because I used to convert guitars from right-handed to left-handed, and I had to have them professionally done, because just swapping the strings, sure, an E, A, D, G, B, E is still the same. It will tune precise with a tuner, but as soon as you try and do a chord, instead of being a solid sounding chord, it's going to be like wah, 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 wah. Same as here, it should be solid. It's going to wah, wah, wah. And though every string is in tune this way, it's not intonated properly. Okay, so that's a big, huge issue on acoustics. You will damage your acoustic guitar. Alright? And this is also a cutaway design, which makes no difference, even if it was a regular dreadnought. Okay? And of course now you're going to be playing it like a dreadnought, because now you can't get up to the high end. I bought a cutaway because I want to get up to the high end, because I can't do that on a regular dreadnought body, but on a dreadnought cutaway I can get right up there where I want to be. Okay? So, that's acoustics. Now, electrics, oh my god, they're a whole totally different beast. So I'll grab my left-handed chord electric first, because this is proper. Now, all the control knobs are down where they belong, whammy bars down where it belongs to, and voila. And this is also a curved neck. Okay, it has a slant going from a high point to a low point. Okay, you got to follow it. This is the higher end, this is lower end. There's a slight curve in the neck. Okay, there's a curve that has to follow with the angle of the saddles. Now these are easy because you can change the angle of these saddles opposite, and you can re-intonate the guitar and flip the strings. So then when you do that to a lefty guitar, now this would be your right-handed position. Okay, now I can still get up into most of these high notes without a real big deal. The SG is actually the best one to convert to a certain point, but you're also going to have another big problem. If you need to get to your switch in a hurry for certain things, it's going to be a real big inconvenience trying to move that when you need to in the middle of the song. Okay, also you're going to be trying to do hand dampening techniques and stuff. You're going to have to be a little bit weirder of an angle to avoid rolling your knobs accidentally as you're playing, because that's going to be a big problem. Okay, now let me get a right-handed guitar. Let's pull the Jimi Hendrix here. Now Jimmy was a really awesome guitar player, and apparently he couldn't even read one note of music, but he was just awesome. Now he took right-handed guitars and he flipped them to lefty. Now this is a right-handed guitar. Everything's in the place where it should be, blah blah blah. It's right-handed. Now I can play right-handed as well. Okay, just I play left much better. I'm still teaching myself right-handed. Okay, but flip it over. Let's pull the Jimmy thing. Now our tuners are on the bottom. Hey, that's no big deal. Not at all. We can re-intonate the bridge. No problem. Can't move the whammy bar. It's kind of stuck here, but you know, some people might like it here because now you can get right-handed bridges with the whammy bar up top where you want it. Because some guys, you know, they don't like the whammy bar down below on their right-handed guitar, so now they can get basically a left-handed bridge put in. Is more or less what it is. And so they can put their whammy on the top. That's not an issue. Okay. You do have a curve in this neck. Okay. Now let's take a look at the curve. Now the neck on this guitar is telling me that if I put in a left-handed nut, I should be I might be okay with it'll take a long time, but I might do some damage because there's just a slight slope with this neck. Okay, just the slightest one. But I could convert this neck over to lefty without too much difficulty. Okay, so that won't be a big deal. You're not going to do any damage to a solid body electric guitar for converting left to right. But now, here's the problem. Now, we got the Jimi Hendrix issue. Jimmy had to learn to play differently to avoid rolling his knobs while he was playing, unless he wanted to roll them, okay? And the other problem he always had to deal with was the darn switch, okay? Now, I know he had one guitar, I think I seen one or two of them that he did some switch mods to for other things. But the main basic switch here for the 3-way or 5-way switch, whatever he happened to have at the time, I think it was 3-way back in those days. But it's difficult to do, you know, and get up here accurately. It's a lot easier to do it down below when you're already down there to go flick and, you know, do something, right? So, not a bad candidate in some senses, but also bad in others because you got the roller knob problem. Same way as taking a left to a right, going right to left is going to be some issues. And it's going to be a very different kind of playing style for you, okay? Which is another problem. Now, one of the best necks I've found are on Ibanez guitars, because a number of Ibanez guitars have what's called a flat neck, okay, or a flat fretboard. And this is virtually flat. Like, if there's a curve in there, it is so slight, but at least it's even, okay, on each side. So this would be actually the perfect kind of guitar. If you can have a guitar that has a virtually straight across flat neck design, okay, like this one does. Now I had an Ibanez Geo left-handed guitar before, and it was lefty, so I could have converted it to right. Now this isn't a bad candidate. Now this is right-handed, okay, no big deal. You play it as a right-handed guitar. Flipping it over to a left. Now because this is a 3/4 size guitar, I have a lot of access where I don't have to worry about rolling the knobs, but I still got the switch issue. I wouldn't be able to flick the switch where I needed it quick enough for certain songs, or say I wanted to go into from the neck pickup or even from the middle to go into the bridge for a solo, I'd have a hard time making that transition, which is another problem again. But neck is perfect. Just flip the nut around or put on a left-handed already cut nut, no big deal. Tuners can stay where they are, they're fine. You'll still have to make use of the string trees, but on the opposite strings, of course. You can change the intonation on this, and it's a hardtail, so you don't have to worry about whammy bar issues, okay, because it's a hardtail. It's also a string through on the body, which no big deal either. It doesn't matter which way the strings come through, but this would be a better candidate to go lefty. Now, the only problem is I get restricted and I lose access to some frets, and this is a 24 fret guitar, okay, which was amazing that on something this small they actually went 24 frets. It's like, wow, interesting. So anyways, pros and cons, that's what you got to deal with, all right? So electrics, though they can be done, not all electrics are going to be good candidates to do the flip over, whichever way you're going to go. But some will work really well, some others will be a problem, okay? Acoustics are nothing but a nightmare and a problem to deal with, and you're going to do nothing but damage an acoustic guitar trying to flip it from left to right or right to left, okay? So it's always better to buy either a left-handed guitar or a right-handed guitar, whichever one you need. And if you started playing guitar and you were started on right-handed and you are left dominant, you need to switch over to left-handed as soon as possible. You will be a much better player if you're going to be capable of even playing guitar. Okay, which brings us to the point, not anybody or everybody can play guitar. I have videos about this. And if you are a lefty, but you're right-handed dominant, you're playing a left-handed guitar, and you need to really go right-handed, then, because you're right-handed dominant more than anything, then you're going to have to buy a guitar as soon as possible so you don't have to relearn too much stuff, okay? Especially if you're paying for lessons, right? You know, I mean, you spend a certain amount every time you go see a teacher. Your teacher should know enough, you know, within a certain amount of time if you are going to be able to play in that style or not. But you also got to tell your teacher if you are left or right-handed dominant. And that's the thing, when people buy guitars too, they don't consider that thought in their head. They just say, oh, it's a right-handed world, there's like 2 guitars in here that are lefties, they're really expensive. They don't even think to ask the clerk, hey, can you get a cheaper left-handed guitar, or can you get a, you know, cheaper or whatever, okay? But there are more choices in right in a variety of levels that are available in stores, right? And I do recommend always buying in store, because this way at least you get a free setup on the guitar at any reputable music store, and it's usually only the day that you purchase it you'll get that free setup offered to you. But you also got to ask for it too. Buying online is a very touch and go thing, but you can buy online and get a boatload of choices of left or right-handed guitars that you normally wouldn't see in stores too, mainly because, yes, they come out of China, but there's some really awesome stuff out of China and there's some crappy stuff. So do a lot of research, but, you know, watch, you know, with YouTube channels too, there will be a lot of guys that will ditch made in China stuff. Well, the thing is, Fender has guitars that theirs made in China, Gibson does, everybody does. They all farm a lot of their stuff out, especially the lower end stuff, right out to China. So, okay, so is there anything wrong with made in Chinese guitars? No, there isn't. But there is something wrong with them if you're buying them from places like Walmart, for example. Those are the bottom of the absolute barrel guitars to stay away from as department store guitars. They are the worst quality ever, okay? Even for made in China stuff, okay? Go online, Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, type in, you know, left-handed electric, left-handed acoustic, right-handed electric, right-handed acoustic. See what you come up with, because we all have different budgets too. We all can't afford to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars out just on a guitar, right? I know I can't, you know, I do what I can with what I've got, you know, and I don't mind buying cheap guitars either and making them better, but I have the skills that I can actually pull that off. That right-handed guitar that's behind me here, this was something we picked up at a pawn shop for like 30 bucks. This is kind of like something you would, I don't even know where Sears I know carries this brand. This is actually, what do they call this? Academy was the original brand of this. Then me and my son gave it a complete makeover, reworked a bunch of stuff, did some electronics to it. You know, I mean, we probably got, well, we know we have at least $100 or more into this thing, but worth every penny in the end. okay? But these are the guitars that you got to watch out for, right? Because they got sharp fret ends and everything else. And you know, you can get that even with cheaper guitars that you buy online off of Amazon stuff. And if you're good with a needle point file, you can clean that up. Or if you know somebody who is, they can clean it up. Or you can take it into a guitar shop, say, can you do a setup on this and clean up the fret edges for me, make sure the nuts, everything's adjusted right, like your truss rod and everything, and away you go. It'll cost you about maybe $60 on top of what you paid. Still going to be way cheaper than having to buy like maybe a $300 or $400 guitar right away, if you have to have, say, a lefty, or you want this but only in a righty, whatever. Okay, you get the idea. So there you go, guys. That's your pros and cons to swapping left to right or right to left for guitars. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and I'll do, as always, my very best to answer them, and I do answer all my emails. So catch you on the next one.